Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, one of the reasons we associated with the spiritual practice is to figure out the truth or figuring out who we are. And there are a few things need to be done to be part of to figure out the truth, to figure out who we are. Especially when you are being part of the inquiry practice, there are a few things. One is asking yourself, who am I? And then there's the dismantling the mind. And that's it. Now, to be part of this inquiry, you have to be part of yourself. That means you have to turn the awareness back to yourself first. Then we can start the journey. Now, once you are aware of yourself, when you start with who am I, actually the who am I can be the start of the spiritual enlightenment path, so that we can see the layers first as who we are, what we think of who we are. So when you ask yourself, who am I? Notice there are layers upon layers resurface in your mind as you, as your past, your present, and the future that you want to be, right? You want to become something. So you see that. The reason to start with the who am I inquiry is to come to the point that, oh, I thought I knew who I am, but now I don't know who I am right now. It is a process to break the ice. It is the process to, make the ego self go humble here. Because in the beginning, when we're not asking the question, who am I? We think we know who we are, isn't it? I am this or that. We sort of know as an identification, as a layer. But beside that, we don't know who we are, especially the unchanging self or the unchanging truth. What we know is the identification that can be replaced with the upgraded identification. And that upgrade can come from the experience that we go through in life. There are stages we go through, and every stages we upgrade ourselves, and that upgrade becomes who we are. Anyway, the reason to start with the who am I inquiry is to catch the layers, many layers, as you, and then after that, if you're still asking yourself, who am I? Then that indicates that you have become so many of you, and you're still seeking. That means, you're not satisfied by who you have become so far. So you're still seeking. That means you don't know who you are. Now, when you come to this point, then, there's a humble quality comes in. Oh, shoot, I thought I knew who I am, but I don't know. And now this is the point. Are you interested to see who you are? Are you interested, to be part of the journey to see the truth, to see the unchanging truth of who you are, the unchanging self? Now, that's the first phase of the spiritual journey. And then there is a dismantling the mind work. To figure out the truth, you have to trace back the mind. You trace back to its root and eliminate the root as well. So if you want to know more on this part, you can watch my other videos. I talk about dismantling a lot. But I want to stay with the who am I here today. Now, after catching yourself that I don't know who I am, now I want to know. So this who am I has to be there, here and there. Especially this who am I is gonna, make you see the truth. This who am I is gonna make you catch at the end. But before you catch yourself and catch the truth, which is the same thing, the who am I has to be throughout the process so that you can see the ripples of the mind when you ask yourself, who am I? And that ripples of the mind resurfacing, is a sign that we are not thorough in dismantling the mind. We are still clinging in dismantling, in deconstructing the mind. Thoroughness is a way to get to the truth with who am I. Once you are thorough in dismantling the mind, once you figure out the root, and also you dismantle the root altogether, and when you reach to the point of no mind, and when you ask, who am I? That's where you're going to click. That's where you're going to catch yourself. And that's where the ego drops completely. The ego has no grip on you. So it is, important to have this inquiry, who am I? In the beginning, to catch the layers that who you have become so far. And when you are, dismantling the mind, now and then you have to ask, and this who am I will end the journey. Now the ending the journey can only happen when you are really thorough. Thoroughness is a way to be free. Even you don't see the truth yet, by being thorough in dismantling the mind will already make your life better. The thoroughness is already helping you to detach from the unnecessary drama, unnecessary effort. So the letting go of the stuff is much easier from the thoroughness. Life is already, getting better from the inquiry approach. The who am I and dismantling mind. And, that thoroughness is going to lead you to finally see the absolute truth, the unchanging self in you. When you ask yourself, who am I? Again, if the answer is resurfacing in the mind, that's the sign that you are not, you know, you're not being thorough. Because let me tell you, there is no answer. There's no answer in the spiritual path. Why? Because the answer is you. There's no idea that, that is going to resurface in your mind as the highest idea. There's no such thing, when it comes to spiritual enlightenment. It's about settling in no mind. Thoroughness is a way to go to the no mind. But that's not the end of the journey. You have to, have this who am I. The who am I is gonna, make you see the truth. You're gonna catch yourself how the mind is still resurfacing, after being thorough. The final who am I is gonna make you liberate from your mind. So it is important to keep the who am I inquiry again and again in the process. It's so easy to overlooked on who am I when you are dismantling the mind. There are a few things need to be aware. Dismantling and asking yourself, who am I? Including witnessing yourself. Without witnessing, there's no start of the spiritual work. You have to aware, and then there is asking yourself, who am I? And deconstructing and asking again, who am I? And this can go, they go together. Okay, anyway, I hope this video makes sense to you. If you have been part of the who am I approach, the self-inquiry approach, and if you have been asking the who am I, you see a lot of layers but couldn't figure out the truth. And if you're struggling, then you add the subtractive work, which is deconstructing the mind, tracing back the mind work. And if you have been deconstructing for a while but you forgot the who am I inquiry, ask again. And if you see a lot of the ideas resurfacing in the mind, that means your thoroughness is not thorough yet. So stay with this too, with being aware of yourself, and see how far it can lead you to. And this journey is not about, again, finding the answer. This journey is about recognizing, the truth within you as you, rather than the, layers. Okay? So keep tracing back your mind, keep working on the backward path, and your sincere work. See, your sincere work, your thorough work will not fail you. Okay? Okay, that's all for today. Take care for now. See you in the next video. Bye.